Motherfucker.
Hold up, I hope y'all watching this shit.
First round, real quick.
People that are in those training rooms with him know how good.
Because he just knocked dudes out real quick in the first round.
Yeah, but now we're gonna get a good. I might fuck with this guy. He just, to me, I thought he was a con artist, just based off his look.
They're at edge.
Holy shit! What the hell just happened?
What's up, motherfuckers? Welcome to GSR Gonzo Sports Room, Wednesday, January 5th, 2022. Got a pretty big show planned for today. We'll talk about Kyrie Irving making his season debut tonight here in Indiana against the Pacers. We'll talk college football playoff expansion. We'll talk some NFL hot seat, which NFL coaches are on the hot seat. Maybe talk a little bit of NBA trades and some other stuff like that. But before we get into all that, don't forget, on Monday we did start our new times. Monday through Friday, we're live at 1 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. Come join us. We're giving out winners. You can find our picks on our social media accounts and stuff as well, but come join us 1 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. We're also live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern with G.S.R. Gonzo Sports Room, our sports talk show. We're live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch with that. You can also find both those shows in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Anchor Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Also, big show announcement is starting this Sunday, January 9th, our new GWR weekly podcast, pro wrestling podcast will be starting. It'll drop this Sunday at 9 a.m. You'll be able to find it on Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and then the video version will also drop on YouTube. We'll record a new episode every week, and then we'll drop it every Sunday at 9 a.m. So be on the lookout for that this weekend. Like I said, you'll also be able to find that Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. Follow us on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. That's where we post all the information about all of our shows at. Whether it's Easy Money, a sports betting show, our daily picks from there get posted on there every day. Our interview announcements for our G.R.Lives, which I'm getting ready to talk about one of those here in a minute. They get posted on our social media. Anything about the show goes through our social media accounts: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all at Gonzo Sports Room. You can find me on Facebook at Chris D. Gonzalez, on Twitter at Chris Gonzalez at Gonzalez Sports, and then on Instagram at Chris Gonzalez. But we post everything about our shows go on our social media accounts. So follow us at Gonzo Sports Room. Check out our YouTube page. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of content on our YouTube page, whether it's UFC stuff. If you're a pro wrestling fan, we've broadcasted live at, I think, 6 pro wrestling shows now, live streamed them and done commentary. We're actually going to be at one this weekend. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But go check that out on our YouTube page. WWE Hall of Famer Rikishi was on one of the shows we were at, as the WWE Boogie legend, the Boogeyman, was there. So go check those out on our YouTube page. Please hit that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate it. Hit that bell so you get notifications. Check out our merch store, streamlabs.com/Gonzalez Sports/merch. We have t-shirts, hats, hoodies, long sleeve tees, beanies. You can see some of the t-shirts here behind me. We have some of the other ones, some new GSR and Easy Money ones that'll be coming out hopefully by the end of this week. We do have a new GWR shirt that's on our at our merch store. Go check it out. The front's similar to this, but we changed it up a little bit. And then it also has printing on the back. It's our first shirt that has front and back prints. It says has the outline of the state of Indiana on the back, and it says "Voice of Indiana Independent Wrestling." So go check those out. But all right, let's jump into some sports. First thing we'll talk about tonight is let's talk about college football for a minute. Got the national championship game coming up this Monday. All right, we got a national championship game coming up this Monday between Alabama and Georgia. They have Georgia as the 3-point favorites as of right now. I found that kind of interesting since Alabama put it on Georgia pretty good a few weeks ago in the conference championship game. And I happen to think Georgia's going to win this game. I think Georgia's defensive line is going to show up in this game. They didn't show up in the first game. And I don't believe that Alabama's offensive line is that much better than the best defensive line in college football, which was what Georgia had all season. So I think there's going to be a change at the line and the power at the line of scrimmage. And everybody knows who wins the line of scrimmage usually wins the game. Well, last time Alabama won the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. I think Georgia's going to come out. I think their defensive line is going to set a tone, and they're going to be able to get put some pressure on Bryce Young and make him have to move a little bit and see if he make it where it's not easy. Make it a little more difficult on him. Get some hits on him. Make him uncomfortable. And I think that's what Georgia's going to be able to do. So I like Georgia, even though I was surprised that they were 3-point favorites, but because I was thinking I was going to get plus money on that. But I'll tell you what, though, there is good value especially if you think Alabama's going to win this game, to throw a little bit on Alabama because you're getting them at plus money. When's the last time you got Alabama at plus money? I don't believe maybe a couple weeks ago when they played, but I thought Alabama was favored in that game. I liked Alabama in that game. In this game, I like Georgia. I just think Georgia's going to respond. But every year around this time, there's always the conversation of there should be more than 4 teams in the playoffs. We need to expand. It's not fair. You have these teams that go undefeated and they don't get a chance to play for a national championship game. Cincinnati was finally the first group of 5 team to make it into the college football playoffs this year. And Cincinnati belonged. I know they got beat by Alabama, ended up getting beat pretty good, but Cincinnati had chances in that game to take control of that game and be in that game. It was a close game going into the second half. It wasn't like Alabama just came out and blew the doors off Cincinnati in the first half. And Cincinnati blew some scoring chances. If it went for a couple tipped balls as well. So, I mean, if the ball bounces different here or there, that game could have been a real close game. The end score didn't tell the true story of that game. The end score didn't represent how close that game was closer than what the end score would indicate. And I've heard people say that the college football playoffs need to expand and do like the FCS format of 24 teams and the top 8s get by. I don't agree with that. And a lot of people are saying that if you the more teams you add, that it's going to make for better football, and that's not true either. If you look at the four. The average margin of victory in the 14 national semifinal games that there's been since we went to the 4 teams, the average margin of victory, let that sink in for a minute, is 21 points per game. Only 4 of those games have been decided by 14 points or less. So almost every semifinal game has been a blowout. So adding more teams isn't going to make it more competitive. If you have the best 4 teams and the top 2 teams are killing the other 2. If you what's bringing in, I say bring in some, and there's a reason why I think you do expand. I think 24 is too many. I say expand to 8. That gets some more teams in there, and then that's going to get where you don't have as many of your top talents opting out of bowl games, and you have them guys that they're going to play now because they still have a chance to get into the national championship. It'll because most of your top guys play on these on the big programs. So yeah, if you make it 8, and that's going to get more exposure for some players that might not get that exposure. But what it's also going to do is your teams like, this year Cincinnati made it, but like UCF, some of your teams that are right on the verge of getting in them Final Four, and then they go to these bowl games, and then 3 or 4 of their players on them teams aren't playing or have opted out to go get ready for the NFL draft. And I'm not saying anything bad about them kids because, I mean, I understand that you're trying to get prepared to try to go make millions of dollars. That's if you're going to be a first round pick, especially a top 10 pick, I understand it because you have a lot of money on the line. But what I'm saying is, if you make it 8 teams, then you're going to most of them players are going to be on a team that's still playing for a national championship, and then them players are going to play because they have that chance to win a national title. And you're not getting all these bowl games that, like this year, most of the bowl games have been bad. There's been a couple of them that were good, but most of the bowl games haven't been very good. But hell, one game you had a team was playing without their top quarterback because he was sitting out to get ready for the draft. So if you have 8 teams in a playoff in the college football, most of them players that were going to get drafted in the first 15, 20 picks of the NFL draft are probably going to be, most of them are going to be on those teams. A few maybe not, but most of them will be on those 8 teams that make it. And then not even that. The main players on those teams are more likely to play. So then you won't have a team going out there without their starting quarterback trying to play a bowl game, and you're selling all these tickets, and then the game ends up being a blowout. And then that's going to end up hurting your TV ratings because people are going to stop watching the bowl games if they're all blowouts. People tune in wanting to watch a good football game. They're not going to keep watching if it's all blowouts. So I do agree that they need to make an expansion. I think 24 teams is too many because you're going to run into a bunch of blowouts because, I mean, there's just not that many top-level good teams in college football. After you get out of a group of probably about maybe 8 to 10, the level of competition drops big. Will that change some now with this name and likeness? It could. Just because with these players being allowed to make money off their name and likeness, it really could, because some of these players might go to a school that they might not have before because, hey, they know they're going to be able to make good money off their name and likeness there because everybody knows them and stuff. So they might go places to colleges that they might not have. So maybe that will swing a little bit, make some colleges have a better chance of competing. But right now, to expand to 24 teams would be way too many. I would agree with 8. I'd go 4 more teams. And I know you're still going to have the argument of who's the 9th team and they got snubbed. But you're going to have that even if you have the 24. You're going to have people arguing over who's the 24th team and who's the 25th team. So you're going to have that either way. Not just if you do 8. But all right, let's move on to something else. But before we move on, don't forget, we're live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. Eastern with Easy Money, a sports betting show. Sorry, that's new time. I'm trying to get used to it. 1 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. This show here, GSR, is live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Please hit that subscribe button on YouTube, the bell so you get notifications of when we go live. If you're watching on Facebook or Twitch, please follow, like, and all that good stuff. You can also find both them shows in podcast form on Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. Most places you listen to podcasts, you can find us. Let's talk about some of these NFL coaches that could be on the hot seat. There's a few of them I think are in pretty good jeopardy of losing their job. Joe Judge with the Giants. I know he's only been there a couple seasons, but I don't think they've really seen the improvement that they were hoping for. I don't know if it's all his fault, though. I think some of it's been due to injuries. But the offense has just been bad. You fired the offensive coordinator, and then the guy you bring in was Kitchens was the one that ended up replacing him because he was already offensive line coach or something. But the offense hasn't got no better with him running it. Did you miss on Daniel Jones? I thought he was going to be better at this point, further along at this point than what he is. It's surprised me that he hasn't. So a lot of that I have to put back on coaching. I mean, you have to develop the guy. You drafted him that high. You have to develop him. If not, it's a failure on him, but it's also a failure on the team, on the coaching staff for not being able to develop him, or at least put him in the best situation for him to have success. I mean, if you look at it, they fired their offensive coordinator this year. They've had some injuries to players. In his first year, they were 6-10. They had a worse record last year. They're 4-12 right now in this year. So I mean, they haven't got no better. They're still actually they've gotten worse from when his first year. I know injuries have had a lot to do with that. Saquon was hurt last year, hurt this year. Daniel Jones had been hurt. So I mean, it's not all that, but I think they'll give Joe Judge another year. I think just because he's going to get kind of lucky in a sense that with all the injuries they had, I think they're going to give him another year, and if he don't turn it around and at least be competing for the division or make the playoffs, that he'll probably be gone. Guy I think could also be in some trouble is Mike Zimmer with the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, they're probably not going to make the playoffs again this season. He's been there 8 seasons. They made the playoffs 3 times. He has a 73-59 record, including the playoffs, so he hasn't been bad. He just ain't been able to get him over that hump. I mean, I should say he hasn't been great either. He's been decent. I mean, he has a winning record in the NFL. You're doing good. He's a good coach, but for some reason, I don't know if it's because if it's the Kirk Cousins deal where he's just taking you as far as he can. But a lot of it is they ain't ever been able to put the defense and the offense together at the same time. They'll be good defensively, and then the offense isn't producing. And then the offense will start scoring points, and then the defense can't fucking stop nobody. So Zimmer, I think will probably get another year, but I mean, him not making the playoffs again, I think that's a couple years in a row. He could be in jeopardy. I think his seat's warming up. Somebody I think his seat's real hot is Vic Fangio. He's 19-29 in 3 years as Denver Broncos head coach. They're not showing much improvement. I mean, they've played good. There's a couple games they've looked, oh shit, Denver's going to be good this year. And then they look like a damn high school team again after that. So I think Fangio's probably gone after this year. Matt Rule with the Carolina Panthers, he could be in some trouble. Got off to a good start last year and then fell off. Got off to a decent start this year, fell off. Injuries don't help when Christian McCaffrey misses most of the season. So injuries have hurt him. Then Sam Darnold gets hurt. Darnold wasn't playing like great. It wasn't like he was burning the house down, but he wasn't playing terrible. I mean, he was playing decent and then got hurt and hasn't been, when he did try to come back, wasn't the same. Then they went to P.J. Walker, started a couple times. Then they went and got Cam Newton, and that hasn't worked. The Cam Newton experiment has not worked at all by bringing him back to Carolina. I almost think that was more of a publicity thing to try to get some of the fans back because Newton was there. Because they were going to get a lot of the Cam Newton fans to come to the games where they wasn't because they weren't playing good. So I think that signing was more just to sell tickets than anything. But Rule he fired his offensive coordinator this year, and Brady took over. The offense still hasn't got any better. He's 10-20 in his first 2 seasons as head coach. I mean, the owners let it known that there in Carolina that he's wanting to build a winner. Matt Rule still has, I think, 4 or 5 years left on his deal. I think they'll give him at least another year. I know there's been a lot of reports and stuff that coming out that his job might be in jeopardy this year. I think you give him another year, especially with all the injuries they had. They got to find a quarterback. Though I don't know if Darnold's the guy. I don't know if they'll go after maybe Deshaun Watson, or I don't think that's a place Aaron Rodgers is going to go. I think he's going to want to go somewhere more that has more of an established team than that. Especially if he can, and I think he's probably going to end up in Denver. Is what I think is going to happen. I think Aaron Rodgers and both Devontae Adams are going to end up in Denver next year. So that opens up some spots at places, but they got to find somebody, whether it's going after Deshaun Watson, going after an Aaron Rodgers, or who else is Russell Wilson. I can see them making a big push to get Russell Wilson there in Carolina. And I think Russell Wilson is going to be available. I think he's done in Seattle after this season. So that could be something. But I think they'll give Rule at least another year. I think Fangio's done. I think Joe Judge, my gut feeling is he gets another year. I wouldn't be surprised if they went ahead and fired him, but my gut feeling says he'll get at least another season to see. And the reason I say that because it seems like the players and everybody like him pretty well. That goes a long way when you're trying to coach grown men. It's not like when you're in college coaching 18, 19-year-old kids. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about some NBA. Got Kyrie Irving making his season debut tonight here. Actually, it's getting ready to start right now here in Indiana against the Indiana Pacers. This will be Kyrie's season debut. He's been out from where he's unvaccinated, and by the New York law, he has to be vaccinated to be able to play. And so now he's just going to play on road games. At first Brooklyn said they wasn't going to. If either he was all in or he wasn't going to play. But then they've been just decimated with injuries and COVID, health and safety protocols and stuff. So they need him. Harris is still out. They do have Durant and Harden back now. Like I said, Irving's going to make his season debut tonight. So Brooklyn now they're going to use him when they're on the road, and he won't play in home games. Like I said, at first Brooklyn was totally against that, which I understood, but I also understand why they're okay with doing that now. To get where they're wanting to be, they need Kyrie Irving, especially without Harris. They just they need that guy. Even though I hate it that he's making his debut tonight against the Indiana Pacers, because I'm a big Pacer fan, and the Pacers are struggling right now. I think we've lost 5 in a row. Lost by 10 last night to the Knicks. And the Knicks weren't even at full strength. I know Randall ended up playing, but I think they were still missing 2 or 3 other of their top players. And the Pacers just didn't play. Led most of the game. It was a back-and-forth game. And then there toward the end of the fourth quarter, Knicks pulled away and ended up winning by 10. Pacers had their chances, just couldn't. They can't finish games. Third quarters kill them every time. But no. Well, I'm interested to see how good a shape is Irving in. How many minutes are they going to play him tonight? Making his debut, maybe 15, maybe 20 at the most, I would think. Or is he just going to be full go from the get out? But if you're full go from the get out and say you play him 30, 35 minutes, is that a higher risk of injury? I mean, I'm sure he's been. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Kyrie Irving's in good shape. He probably works out and all that good stuff. But there's a difference in being in good shape and being in game shape. He has to get in that game shape. He ain't in that. Isn't in the game where you got players pulling and tugging on you and hanging on your arms and all that stuff. They're trying to. It's a lot different than when you're just working out on your own, and you got the adrenaline and everything else. But yeah, so I think he plays maybe 15 minutes a night, maybe 20. But I mean, he might be ready to play more now. Only he knows, and Steve Nash has to try to make the best decision and hope you don't play him too much and something happens and he gets injured, because then everybody's going, oh, you shouldn't have played him that. So either way, you could be screwed, because if he's killing it, you only play him 15 minutes and then you take him out and you lose the game, you're going to have people bitching that you took him out. But if you leave him in and he gets hurt, you're going to have people bitching that he got hurt. So either way, Nash isn't going to win on that. There's going to be people pissed off about it either way. All right, and then I'm glad Irving's getting to play, because they need to. It just sucks that every state has different rules, so that makes it hard when you're in leagues like this, because you have to go by those. I understand why the Nets are letting him play tonight, and I hope he has I'm not going to say I hope he has a good game. I hope he don't get hurt or anything, but I hope he does play well later on. I don't want him to have a big game tonight against the Pacers, of course, because I want to see the Pacers get off this losing streak and start putting some wins together. Which I know we're decimated with injuries and COVID right now as well. We didn't have neither one of our starting guards, I think, the last two games. So, I mean, Pacers have been struggling. Back to the NFL for a minute. Derrick Henry looks like he's going to be back for the playoffs. What kind of impact is he going to have? Tell you what, Titans are going to be a scary team for it. I'm a big Indianapolis Colts fan, but Titans, you don't want to play the Titans in the playoffs. They're going to have the number one seed, and for them to manage to get that number one seed with having Henry out most of the season, I don't understand why Mike Vrabel ain't being mentioned more in the Coach of the Year conversation. Everybody knows that, or I've always said that team goes as Derrick Henry goes. And when he went down, everybody thought Tennessee was done. They didn't. Nobody even gave Tennessee a chance to make the playoffs anymore. That's how bad everybody thought they were going to fall without Derrick Henry. That they weren't even going to make the playoffs is what you heard from everybody. I didn't, and I'll be honest with you, I thought they might make the playoffs, but I didn't think they'd go deep in the playoffs anymore. And if they did make the playoffs, they were going to just barely get in. Not only are they did they make the playoffs without him, they're going to have they won their division. And then they're going to looking to have the number one seed in the AFC, which means they get a bye first round, and that the road to the Super Bowl will go through Tennessee. And they done now, not having Derrick Henry, you add him back, and you get that potent running game back. Tennessee could be a scary team to play. I think the Colts are a scary team to play in the playoffs as well, because of the way they're built and the running game that the Colts have. But yeah, Derrick Henry coming back to the Titans I think it's going to make a big impact on the Titans, and it makes a big impact on their playoff push of what their ceiling is now. Fuck, they could get to the Super Bowl, because you add in what they've been able to do without Henry this season, and you add him back, and they get that dominant running game going, and they're getting healthy. They're healthy at receive, a lot more healthier at receiver now. They're going to be a dangerous team if their defense can hold up. AFC's wide open. You got so many teams that are so close that it's basically whoever plays better that day or whoever gets hot at the right time is going to have that playoff push that it's going to help have a playoff push. It's going to be what team is hot at the right time is who's going to come out of the AFC because you have just so many teams stacked up there. Yeah, Julio hasn't been playing, but he hasn't been that good when he played, but he hasn't had a chance to really get in a rhythm because seems like he plays and then gets hurt and he comes back, maybe plays a couple games and he's out in there 2 or 3 games. I really thought he was going to make a big difference in Tennessee's offense this season. I'm not going to lie, I was disappointed that the Colts didn't go after him because the Colts need another receiver bad. And it's easy to say now because you see the results, but Julio Jones, I'm kind of glad Colts didn't. After the season he's had, he can't stay healthy no more for some reason. When he can stay healthy and he can be in the lineup for every week and get in a rhythm, was one of the best receivers in the game. And I think he still has the ability to be that if he can stay healthy. But for some reason, his body hasn't been able to hold up. I don't know how many more chances he'll get on it. I mean, he'll probably get signed on another team, but not as a number one. He's going to get signed. I mean, whenever he leaves Tennessee, he's not going to get a number one deal anymore. Somebody will use him, but they'll use him as a 3 probably, maybe a number 2 if he can stay healthy. But they're not going to depend on him to be a number 1 because of all of his injuries. Burrow and Mixon aren't going to play this weekend against the Browns. Cincinnati's already clinched the playoffs, and they really can't improve their seed or anything. So they're setting Burrow out to rest rest his knee. Mixon's going to be out. You're going to see a few teams do this week, not play. From what the spreads I saw, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play a whole lot. I know he came out yesterday and said he was playing, but the spread dropped to like 3 points. So I would say that they don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play very, very much in that game. And I don't look for him to either. The Packers have already clinched playoff spot, clinched the number 1 seed. So they have a first round bye. Road to the Super Bowl is going to come through Lambeau. Why take a chance to get Rodgers or Devontae Adams or Aaron Jones or Dillon or any of your big-name defensive guys hurt in a game that don't mean nothing? You just want to get through this game injury-free, get ready for the playoffs. But then you have a lot of teams that have to play, like the Colts. The Colts, if they win, they're in. They lose, they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They still have a slight chance if certain people win or lose and shit like that, but if they win, they're in. The Chargers, I can't think of who they play this week now. That game is basically the same thing. Winner gets into the playoffs. I'll look that up real quick because I just spaced. Chargers. Who do they play? Is it the Raiders? I think it is the Raiders. I think it's Chargers and Raiders, and winner gets in. As soon as my phone loads up here real quick, I'm pretty sure it's Chargers against the Raiders. Is another one in the AFC that the winner gets in. Pacers and Nets game we're getting ready to start. Nets are starting Kyrie Irving. Everybody was talking whether they were going to start him or if he would come off the bench. And I'll be honest with you, I favor the Raiders in that game against the Chargers. I think the Chargers are the better team, but the Chargers defense is just not good, especially against the run. And I think the Raiders are going to win that game and get in. The graphic I saw, if the Colts win, we're probably going to play Cincinnati in the first round of the playoffs. Yeah, everybody was talking that they'd probably bring Irving in off the bench, but they started him. Pacers are still hurting. I mean, we got guys that wouldn't be in the starting lineup if it wasn't for people being hurt. I don't know who this little guard is. I couldn't see what his name was, but he is aggressive. Is that Tice? But all right, before we get out of here, let's got a couple things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining us. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell so you get notifications of when we're live. If you're on Facebook, please hit the like button, follow. Same thing on Twitch. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. we'll have a G.S.R.Live. Owner of AWR, Asylum Wrestling Revolution here in Indiana, independent wrestling company, Gary Emmett, is going to join us. I think it's going to be a great conversation tomorrow evening, so make sure you join us for that. We'll also be live tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern with the Easy Money and Sports Betting Show. Come join us for that. We're giving out winners. Both those shows are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. On Friday at 3:30 p.m., we're going to air a conversation that we had last night with pro wrestler Sean Kemp. Him and his dad run a wrestling promotion here in Indiana called Summit Pro. They're having a show this Sunday in Greenfield, Indiana. Doors open at 3, bell times at 4. For more information, you can find them at Summit Pro on Facebook. You can look at the Gonzo Sports Room social media accounts. I've been posting all their flyers on there. We're going to be live at that event. We'll be doing the live stream and live commentary of it. So if you can't get to Greenfield, come join us on YouTube and Twitch Sunday at 4. Also, don't forget, we have our new podcast coming out this week, starting this weekend, the new GWR Weekly Pro Wrestling Podcast. First episode will drop Sunday morning at 9 a.m. It'll drop on Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast. Most places you listen to podcasts, you'll be able to find it. And then also, if you want the video version will drop on YouTube also at 9 a.m. Sunday morning. It'll be a weekly show. We'll record it, and we'll air it every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. So be on the lookout for that this Sunday morning. What else? Check out our YouTube page. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell for notifications. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. That's where we post all the information about our shows. Our daily picks for Easy Money, a sports betting show, get posted on there. Any interview announcements, just any announcement to go with our show. Show goes to our social media. Don't forget, tomorrow we're live at 1 p.m. Eastern. Easy Money, a sports betting show. Come join us. We're giving out winners. Don't forget, this Friday there won't be a GSR Friday night at 7 in the evening because we will be at Central High School. I run a youth wrestling program at the local high school here in Muncie, and Eric also helps on this show. He's been coming up and helping. AJ Bradley, the high school coach at Muncie Central, has been helping me a lot. My dad comes up there, Tony Gonzalez, and helps. But Friday we have a little friendship meet against some other schools. It's free to get in. Come support them at Central High School. So we got that going on Friday. Sunday we're going to be live, Greenfield, Indiana. Summit Pro, The Climb. Don't want to miss it. It's a stacked card. Like I said, come join us in Greenfield, Indiana. This is Summit Pro's big probably going to be their biggest show they've had. Let's pack the house. If you can't get there, join us on YouTube and Twitch. You'll enjoy the show. All right, thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Oh, one thing, don't forget, you can find me also tomorrow morning on All Sports, All Plays, ASAP Sports Network. I'm on ASAP in the morning. Starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Come join us tomorrow. Usually 4 or 5 different guys on there, all just talking sports. Usually a good conversation. So you can come join me for that at 10 a.m. in the morning. Then join me at 1 p.m. Eastern right here at Gonzo Sports Room for Easy Money, a sports betting show. Everybody have a good evening. Be safe. See you tomorrow. Peace.